All right, nice spiral. We back at it. YouTube fair use. This is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe upon my copyright under Title 17 USC Section 107. Let's go. All right, y'all. We're back. We're cooking nine spiral, and at this point in time, man, I'm just flexing my muscle, man. That's all. Let them know they can't stop no show. Not fucking with me. Anyway. But man, let's get into it, man. We're cooking, we're digging on the mud flood, man. With just a little quick something I threw together. I've been meaning to do something. I'll get back to it, man. But we're gonna take a second look at old world Chicago. All right. But first, we must understand what is going on with these world fairs and expositions, right? Because clearly it's a cover up, and we see that, right? And so we want to get a better understanding of what's going on, and allow me, if you will, to cook a little bit. Let's go.
What we are seeing in the 19th and early 20th century is the final stages of the reset. There was a transitory period, and like any transition phase, the period still utilized some of the old world's technology.
Right.
It was trying to phase out.
Right.
And like I said, the enemy is lazy. They really should have done away with these photographs and footage.
See that? What's such a great point? All right. Why not? I mean, we see that y'all tried to Photoshop. Y'all did the best that y'all could in the limited amount of time that y'all could to cover shit up. Y'all did a good job. Because it took a collective effort, right? No. You see, it's not just the white man. Please stop telling me that shit. No. It's a confederation of nations, right? Again, right? The Most High specifically names his enemies. Now he's looking at the brethren to Israel, right? So he's looking at Moab and Edom. He's eyeballing y'all two motherfuckers. Because apparently, according to history, y'all the cause of all this shit. No, see, y'all don't want to talk about how y'all melanated Europeans, all right? And Frenchmen, and whoever else came over here warring with melanated Indians. That is the hidden narrative. We just cooking.
Look.
Uh-huh. All right, now we're gonna stop with this electricity shit, man. What's his name? Nikola Tesla didn't do shit. All right, no one man controls that type of technology, man. What's wrong with y'all? These buildings, these structures were already fitted with electricity and the light bulbs. The question is, what in the hell the power was coming from? These weird and odd machines with inside these buildings. Man, what's going on here, man? Did you figure out how to work it? Because we know, all right, we know about the great Chicago fires of 1871, right? All right, we see the destruction, all right, this reset or biblical catastrophe. It's all the same, right? You see, the Most High kills and he makes alive. He wounds and he heals, right? At his discretion. And so we know about the great fires, right? You pick a city, you name it, it happened. But here in Chicago, all right? And so we're just gonna take a look, man, at old world Chicago after the fires, right? But before we do, man, we're gonna get a little bit of this Chicago World Fair, right? Or cover up. Because by now, it is very evident. All right? Let's rock.
Drop it and get rid of it. And eventually, when you can't get rid of any more false, what you're left with is the truth. How much false can you find? Because there's lots in history. I was looking around the internet and came across the images of the 1893 Chicago World Exposition. And it blew my mind because it looked like ancient Rome in the middle of downtown Chicago. And as I looked at it further, well, here's another one in Philadelphia. Here's another one in St. Louis, in Buffalo, in San Francisco. And then as soon as they were done, they tore them all down and threw them in the garbage. That just told me there's something wrong with all of these.
There's something very wrong, right? And we want to know what the hell y'all covering up, man. What are you trying to hide? You're trying to hide the so-called Naga, the copper color con. And you're trying to hide biblical artifacts. And you're trying to displace a whole nation of people. But the Most High said he gonna leave some roots, right? The rooster coming back home to crow. Let's rock.
The story of the expositions is a gigantic lie. And I think it's so huge of a lie because I think they're right at a bridge point when so many things about the 1800s that seem strange and weird, right as this sort of period ends of unbelievable strangeness, and all of a sudden these fairs spring up all over the world,
right,
with impossible buildings we're talking about, which are colossal structures. Chicago built 700 acres of fair in supposedly less than 2 years.
Wow.
St. Louis built 1,200 acres of exposition buildings. One of the buildings in Chicago, the manufacturers building, would house 300,000 people. There's a giant
300,000 people, but it was made of chicken wire and plaster. Chicken wire and goddamn plaster. 300,000 people. Chicken wire and goddamn plaster. You see how they playing us? They ain't playing me. They playing y'all. Let's rock.
A statue in the middle of the lagoon. It was called the Golden Lady, and it was known as the Statue of the Republic. It was 65 feet tall. They say it was covered in gold leaf that had copper underneath, but others speculate it was actually made out of solid gold. So you're talking 65-foot high, potentially solid gold statue. We're talking giant structures and looking like ancient Rome with towers and domes and columns and...
Yeah, I'm thinking solid gold. Hold on. Nigga, you know that bitch was solid. Solid as a rock.
Manufacturer's building would house 300,000 people. There's a giant statue in the middle of the lagoon. It was called the Golden Lady, and it was known as the Statue of the Republic. It was 65 feet tall. They say it was covered in gold leaf that had copper underneath, but others speculate it was actually made out of solid gold. So you're talking 65-foot high, potentially solid gold statue. We're talking giant structures and looking like ancient Rome with towers and domes and columns and the most fine, ornate pieces to them in these record, unbelievable times. Then as soon as they're done, chuck them in the garbage. Like Jackson Park is a swamp, so supposedly they had to drive down tens of thousands of wooden stakes in order to support the weight of everything. They dug out massive lagoons, lakes. They had a canal system that ran through the entire exposition. They also had an above-ground electric train. But where's the electricity coming from? That's running around the park. They had a moving wall.
Where is all that damn electricity coming from? The pertinent questions, right? Inquiring minds would like to know. Because at this point in time, we don't believe you. We don't believe you. Let rock.
Walk away down by the shore. Not enough people are asking, where does this technology come from?
Just to frame it, if I'm not mistaken, the Chicago Fair was the first time people had seen electric light.
Tesla's the one who got the electricity contract for the Chicago Exposition, and it was certainly more than all of the lights anyway that were in New York City at the time were at the Chicago Exposition.
That must have been mind-blowing for most of those people who had only seen gaslight or candlelight at night to see that city lit up in such a way. Again, count the way, since 1901. We are told, whether it's true or not, the idea of being able to electrically do anything hasn't been around that long.
Right.
It's bizarre. This is supposed to be Tesla's fair, where he managed to somehow move electricity from Niagara Falls to Buffalo for the fair. No one's...
Nikola Tesla. We don't believe you. We don't believe you. You are an agent. You are an agent. Let's rock.
Really explained how he actually did that. And at the middle of the fair is a 395-foot high electrical tower, on top of which, of course, is a female golden statue called the Goddess of Light. And this thing was lit up by some suggest 500,000 electric light bulbs. Again, when you look at the photos of this thing, it's just, where did he really get the power from?
I mean, think of what it would take today if you had a place with no electricity and no way to pipe it in, the generators that would have to be built.
For example, there's a building that went up for the Barcelona Exposition in 1888. It was claimed to be the fastest built building in the world, 5,000 square meters, capacity for 2,000 guests, 600 rooms, 30 apartments, and it was supposed to be built in 53 days.
53 days. So you see what we're saying? Right? No, man, no. No, man, we don't believe y'all. Nope. It's rock.
It's supposed to be a time of horse and buggy. The 2-year building times are actually impossible unless the two most likely theories would be either A, they had a technology that they're not supposed to have, and it really was built in that time frame. Even if they built them, they had to build them out of marble and stone in record time, or the buildings were already there. They'd been there for hundreds or thousands of years, fixed up, refurbished, repainted, hence the term whitewashed, which is the term that was used for the Chicago Exposition, which was paint all the buildings with this brand new spray paint that they had just developed to spray paint all the buildings in record time, so you couldn't tell if anything was old or anything was new.
How long did these things tend to stay open? When they built these things supposedly over 2 years, which is the narrative, how long were they there for?
6 months.
6 months for the public to come.
And then what was amazing, for example, in St. Louis, 2 days after the fair ended, they brought in a demolition team from Chicago with explosives and blew the thing up. They actually used dynamite to blow it up, and they say threw it in landfills. Things like the World Fairs shows there was a time in our past, and even not that far in our past, where humans seemed to be at a completely higher level. Human living and human knowledge were constructed into the buildings using cymatics, using sacred geometry. These fairs, they're so important to study because the history that we know right now as history was invented at the time these fairs were going on. One of their underlying first purposes was to teach a historical narrative to the population that they were supposed to believe and agree with.
All right, con, let's rock, let's cook a little bit, y'all. We're gonna dig on old world Chi-Town. All right, whose cribs were these? Here in Chi-Town, man. Shout out to my Chi-Town people, and we're gonna do something a little different, man. We're gonna rock out to some Tribal Mafia, and we're gonna see what we see. All right, now we're just reconning. I'm not gonna do too much talking. This is pretty much self-explanatory, man, but all these photos, if I'm not mistaken, are 1892. All right, so we know that the fire, the Great Chicago Fires, right, happened in 1871. All right, so that was a reset in itself. All right, so I want you to look with your eyes. This is 1892. Now, keeping in mind, 1893 is when they had the World Fair or Exposition. All right, to claim these structures. So you see what's going on? Now look with your eyes now. We're going to rock out to some Tribal Mafia. Let's go. Tribal Mafia. Tribal Mafia. Con. Let's go. Hey, strong power, ill, and live, bet, gone down. Wild, breathe eternally, no stopping this tribe. We got expectancy, light at the end of the tunnel. See it's clear as crystal, living water's gonna take you a dive. With a real house of Jacob, please stand up, identify yourself, see your name written across the sky. Purpose fulfilling, nothing in vain, cause you was willing to persevere through the hurt, heartache, and hard times. No progression without the struggle, reducing the pressure, no weapon form, cause Melakin won't let them dracons watching. If you come at me, promise they'll see it distort your vibration, making you weaker, frequency wrong, low oscillations, unelevated, stuck in the matrix, fearing love, engulfed in hatred, static like stone. You belong to something lesser, the greater within us that keeps us moving closer to destination. Let's go. Lucy. Born leader, LF, back, cuff, nun, tie, intersections on the mile. I secure with the why. Hey ya, I secure with the breath. Better record, don't flop, drop the top, white balls on the lack, sapphire in the back, gemstones lead the way to the mill. Yeah, land will be none. Toe Kev, big knock, got a spiral on lock, Dragon glass round my neck, put on my priestly garments, let me crystallize all lies on your Dragon. Judgment is upon us, open your third eye, see through the lies, fertilize the true within, you seek to be wise, and rebuke every false way, there would be no denial, 144 exclusive, watch me capitalize, right off in the
sunset, I'm out your car, waging war on those. Let my kind that we, comment like that we, ain't no surprise. The only option is for them to choose up or die.
All right, the only option for them is to choose up or die. All right, now what I want you to focus on when viewing these photos, right? Yep, you got it. Lack of people. Huh? Lack of people. And this is 1892. Let's rock.
Melanated just enough to get the frequency right. Pain and hunger, what I dwell upon the night. Been fucked over, left for dead. My own pop never looked back, never turned his head. I'm supposed to cry, cause you're packing up your shit. Man, go ahead, walk to the 9 million to the head. Grandma ain't never been the same, you feeling me? I ain't no authority for us, minority, when we majority. Nothing but some purity. Why be supreme authority? So in this world, I get it in blood. Knowing the resurrection is all too wild. Knowing the resurrection is all too wild. Ain't no vengeance in my frequency, but I will stand my ground. Pop off a couple rounds, sit back in time. Check my background. I'm vicious. The ghetto be my playground. Surrounded by hounds. Times life. Project Blue. Tribal Mafia. But this matrix made me out. Drop Nation. We on spiral. Shame on them. Shame on you for being a witness. Creating mad deception so blatant they improvise. To sit back and watch and partake in this agenda. To separate a people from destiny that's awaiting. Don't want your forgiveness because judgment is unabated. No future is striving with your maker acting according to that which you see on this earth that's congregated. Come out and be separate. These heathens have been conforming. The price is going up and directly to the inflation. A new paradigm is beginning, sounding alarming. No fear not an option. I beseech you to keep vibrating, refuting oppression and diluting that which is evil. One band, one sound, get this power of resonating and spread across the earth cause it belongs to the people. A coronation, basking in self-preservation. Say linger free slaves, but Sam Coke, that made us equal. For real, let go. My heartless breath, the vision of death, suppressed by the smoke of the dust. I feel it in my flesh, hustle till I rest. I'm stressed, but every day blessed. Amongst devils doing my best. It's hard, but how I got my bulletproof vest. So I write if I have to, don't test. Our leaders possessed, world oppressed, fooled and ruled by a family crest. Priests that molest, our children depressed. Wolves like sheep dressed, so I'm here to invest. Fists in the air, anarchy, civil unrest. Got the knowledge, damage assessed. Drop nation, we the best. Third eye open, we slaying these pests. Covert planetary conquest. Behind the scenes like they don't exist. I resist, no fear on my quest. Know thyself, G.O.D. in the physical express. My words bring your chest. Your heart collapse, cardiac arrest. Spiritual protest, freedom we manifest. They owe us, I'm collecting all debts. Taking mine and freeing the masses with no regrets. Cause maybe united we can progress. The second coming manifest. How wow.
Best friend snitch, it's the year of the rap. Staring at the judge like, how you know that? They asked your boy to cop a plea. I said, I'll be right back. Staring back like, I know it's a trap. about the wood is they ain't trying to tussle. Got hot-blooded knockers in the mix of them jungles, and harsher men of Arlington. Word to my cousin, Rest in power, Nip. I'm telling you what he does know. That it's tribe or it's nothing. Otherwise, we done for. Staring down the road like, damn, I wish that I'd done more. Cold place to be, but not as cold as his jail flow. 20-hour lockdown and they closing our stores down. Small price to pay for putting boots on a pedophile. COs playing game, they put him here with a big smile. Knowing damn well no hijacks allowed. You feel me? Project Blue or Blue Beam. Niggas blow, we cop beams. August blow, we get kings and queens ready to reign. The shofar sings, Elijah brings restoration we need. It's going out to the seas. Behind the wall, you are free.
All right, now we're looking at a picture. Now, this picture was always interesting to me because here you see they have people facing the window, right? So it's like, what's going on here? You can clearly tell that this photo is staged, as a lot of the photos are during this time period, depicting life as they would have us believe, right? But we know better, right? We know better, and we're not buying it. Let's rock.
Immunosuppressive components such as formaldehyde and nickel and mercury and other substances that decrease the immune system. If our goal is to increase the immune response, that's the first thing. Okay. Drop mission, let's go. Beat fella. Power tone and no depression. People with naga, no idol worship, some other father of bones. Gamma recharging me, don't buy bitch. My enemies flee, beating the ether, eradicating these agents. Judgment appointed, no, you can't stop it. Say God and may God, the sentence coming to you, according to the prophet. Ezekiel cried, the bones is dry. Put breath back into them, the whole house of Israel is coming alive. When they return it to claim their land, This ground be sacred, part of the shield. If the covenant forever stand, Jacob is favored, I trouble ceasing. So mix me with the phony corona and the rest of man-made diseases. Their options are few, time is past heat. We sleepwalk in the face of this plague. Don't know what's coming, have no clue. Drop nation be lying, walking my cheek. So give yourselves a hand, trap up, cause separation's for the weak. Let's go.
Tribal Mafia. Joseph the Real, Yo, Con Drop, Natural by Law, Five Eyes Ma, let's go. Huey Gruey, Urban Reed, 50 Dizzle, Con Fresh, J Lo.
Like Preston John, I rule the war behind my daughter. See nothing but slaughter. 5 cheap wings, I was getting hotter than molten lava. It's primary water. This your manslaughter. First degree corona, thicker than a college diploma. Spit hot lava, burning up like Khalifa fires. Prophecies, my consistency keeps me higher. Vibrations that are flawlessly filtered through the frame of the shaper. Silent weapons, quiet wars, EMF, corona discharge. Have you heard the effects of silent weapons? Better yet, Agenda 21, Iron Mountain, plasma bouncing, surrounded by monopolies. Corporations attacking with 5G, cutting down trees. Disease, nanotech, please believe. Stuck with the heathens, I dropped on my knees and bleed. Why are we giving vaccines as a first step to the ability to seroconvert? The ability to actually create antibodies doesn't even get established. There's a minimum of 6 months. Most immunologists will say at least a year, 2 years, and some will say all the way up to 2 years to 14 years of age. Your immune system is still developing. So why are we giving a vaccine on the first day of the planet when the body can't even seroconvert? So you're saying we can only train the immune system to respond, but get the immune system to I had to unplug from this disillusion. Too much in the hijack, spiritual pollution. I see the hidden layers with problem and confusion. Media propaganda, spitting poison, the plan and execution. Corona takes the blame, but it's radiation distribution. Bill Gates, pedophile, demonic institutions. New World Order bring artificial resolutions. They want to depopulate, vaccinate with a chip, the foregone conclusion. In the news, numbers die, but the studies are unproven. The sheep follow and believe, but these cons you ain't fooling. Tribing up with Hawa as the guide we be moving. Before our eyes, prophecy manifests and reviewing. Time to rise like the sun, we ain't losing. Kwam Dasharala, the kingdom come, you'll be ruined. This time has come, Most High is recruiting. Have no fear, these devils we refuting. Cause they got no power, so be careful what power you are choosing. And when the time comes, we'll see who's ready to ride. Trust my arrows, I'll be shooting.
All right. Where the people at, man? I just saw one person. All right. I want you to look at the structures, right? You know, some of these structures clearly were built for giants. I'm just saying. But the lack of people is what we're focusing on. You see, Drop said a long time ago, right, that there's a frequency war taking place, and it's been taking place. Every day, Yasharal, you're going to have to learn how to raise your frequency. That's what this thing is about. Frequency wars.
Tribal Mafia.
So special.
Fit-based emotions controlled through low vibrations and frequencies man-made and fabricated. What's the agenda? Depopulation. Perpetrated to falsify info you getting from news stations. Hidden hand inside the coat. It slides the Fox, CBS, NBC, and make-believing propaganda at random. Got y'all chasing the ghost, apparition, the phantom. Meanwhile, being persuasive by getting vaccinated. Hala Hawa, miss me with all the necromancy. Feather my crown, chanting out loud, ghost dancing. Indecisive, they be taking a look at who's restraining. Strong delusion showing, proving you presented, we tested. I hope you know you might be dealing with Nagas elected. Through all my wisdom, we see clearly disable your methods. No level will we be forsaken, forgotten, neglected. No weapon fall, we just waiting on second exit.
Alright, let's go.
Across the North Stars sits the throne of Hawaii. Past the firmament and beyond into the heavens. It's popping 24/7. All Ruachs making past Shama'i. Like what you mean? The Ruach returning back to its source. The breath giver, the real shaka, of course. Kind of force of laws, vibrations. The one who be popping. Oh, 5G. Got him tripping. Rex 84, watch out, coronavirus. They paying homage to both sides. Unreal shackles is furious. To see your weed. Some of the lyrics got them going crazy behind TP. Off GP, Enoch talk to people. This is how I decree. So I'ma preach. Drop to my knees, receive the word and flee. Off to the disciples. Only Hawa can deliver us, inspire us in the righteousness we trust. The heart of man is not pure enough. So I'm a quad to overstand. Young girl with a cough, respiratory shut down like the falling got cut off. It went from tough to fucked up in pneumonia, less than 24 hours span.
Tribal Mafia.
Yeah, I'm blessed I made it this far, and it's more than faith. Breaking out of bondage, no more slave. Tawada Hawa for the strength of making me brave. We're making this happen, no more prophecy in full action. Suited up, all feathers matching, and you know we pack the heat due to the environment. We got warriors' blood, arrows firing, always steady. Drunk high vision, seeing clearly. Pure water, we thirsty, taking what is owed to me. You Africans supposedly. Listen to the facts, grandma tell you orally. Kuri milk supposed to blasphemy. These devils trying to follow me. Tricks to magic alchemy. But Hawa lead me and he guide me. Spiritual warfare is what I see. It's okay, Yasharala, we ready. Slaying these hijacks, sword and machete. Like Jahawashi recovering the holy city. And even though there's no chains around my feet, my people still lost though. So we gather in the army like Fidel Castro, exposing the Grand Master. Illusion is reality, disaster. Panic heartbeat faster. From a hood where a little cable blaster. So I'm ready for this. Call of Duty, kneel this matrix. This is written in stone, no government can debate this. Anunnaki shape shift, synthetic creation, writing the script. My young long count and the time is now. Exposing all these vampires. Deception among the people. Now they're building corporate empires. One world corruption. Hard weather disruption. Stay meditation for my brain to function. Beyond the illusion and the programming. My spirit stays strong even with the brainwashing. My fist is in the air and I don't care if they watching. I'm not afraid, you know how I bless. We speaking truth, we speaking theory. I'm not your enemy, no need to fear me. Debate or hate me. Blame the one that made me. On a mission.
Huh? On a mission. On a mission to bust down the psyop. You see that? Where the people at? Still no people? I told you to look with your eyes. Look with your eyes. Where the people? Who built it? No. See, we tired of the damn hocus pocus. We tired of the damn hocus pocus, man, because that's all you're selling us, huh?
Yeah, we in here. Tribal Mafia. All day and day. It don't stop. This here thing forever. Let's go. Hocus pocus, me don't lose focus. Get distracted easily, spiral step pistol token. And that's a given. At any time I can give you a peace of mind. No rest for the weary, say might I mention. My tribe holler back. If you hear me, what have they done for us lately? Running psyops, the heathens, they be pump faking. Blatant deception, make Naga skeptic by anything they be bringing. To whom it may concern, gon' get this message before they flag it. Done just by hand it with these demons. Don't make me start rebuking the hell out your black magic. Think I'ma succumb to idol worship, you must be dreaming. Assuming King David ain't coming back to be established. But until then, like a being mind stated, lying hearted and willing to live and die for a power with no end or beginning. You can be Ammon, Amalek, Moab, or Edom. Like good and Marbles peeping through the window, we see him, yeah.
Million Man March, Rosa Parks. This is where gives us hocus pocus, focus, deep contemplation, wise creation, like the fire den. Million Man March, Rosa Parks. What this world gives us hocus pocus, focus, deep contemplation, wise creation, like the fire den. No hocus pocus, no hoodoo, no voodoo. You hear the dracons in the back, trumpet blues, chasing honeydew. Caught the pomegranates, land sacred to us. How you indigenous, trust the religion. Nonetheless, cause iron treason is cause of own brethrens. It's time for cutbacks, feel the vibration in your gut when the dome crack. Watch these parasites fall back like old gusts, restoring Million Man March. Rosa Parks. What this world gives us is focus. Focus, deep contemplation. Hope God's creation come through like a fire.
Focus, focus, my third eye open. I hope you focus to the words I wrote this. Wake up, unplug your soul from the matrix. The architect and his great tricks. Dark vision, we stay hip. Hawa, my God, I can't fake this. Woke since grade 6. Fake scholar pseudo scripts. They false witness tongue slips. They cast spells, create conflicts. Divide the community, just snakes. Illusion is just fakes. Supremacists preach hate. At the same time, they say here's the cash app, just in case. Many called, the few are chosen. Many preach, but they woes in cheap clothing. Many leaders, but most are just posing. Very few practice what they spoken. Hocus pocus, it's on the show till I vision. Frequency, verbal assault. Draw consplayed matter, lock and load. Guided by our father, together with the wisdom of our mama. The scriptures that I read prepared me for disaster. Prophecy manifesting faster. I need that primary mem, holy water. The Shabbatar ready, we riding straight with Hawa.
Million Man March. Rosa Parks. What this world gives us. Holy focus. Focus. Deep contemplation. God's creation. Fire dead. Million Man March. Rosa Parks. What this world gives us. Focus. Focus. Deep contemplation. God's creation. Come through like a fire.
All right. And so, you see what's going on here? You see what's going on? This is the work of the Most High, your mother and father above, right? Now, who run it? Who run it?